people here with their, natural eye. Unfortunately, here in South Africa, when you begin to spread awareness the way that you are doing, people people will attack you, people will fight you. But you are bringing so much awareness in such a way that people are not aware that most of this is beyond gender-based violence. There is GBV, but there is something that goes beyond just GBV. It is sacrifice. It is rituals. It is a lot of things that are happening. You must be very careful who you date. Who you date matters, especially all the girls who love going after men with money. I'm not saying anything about money. Money is good. Money is good. Everybody loves money. And not everyone who has money made his money through rituals and killings. There are hardworking people out there. But I'll assure you right now that you cannot be in a relationship with a man who spends the whole day sleeping at home and you don't know what he does for a living, but each and every night when you go out to the nightclubs, he spends more than 100,000 rands. Yet the whole week he's sleeping at home, not doing anything, and there's something suspicious. You need to start asking questions. What do you do? Where do you do it? How do you do it? Where is your family? Where do you come from? Other than enjoying the money, there are so many important questions that are supposed to be asked in the process.
Can I ask you a personal question?
Yes, please.
Now that you have said that, right? You were a young person at the time. You had just been initiated in a cult.
Yeah.
And now, the girls that you were sleeping with, what would happen to them? Because you were initiated, you went into the blood, you were doing this, you were washing naked, you were sleeping naked, you were doing all these kind of things. The girls that you slept with, what happened to them?
The girls that I slept with.
And how did you choose them?
I'll be very honest with you.
Yes, please.
I'll be very honest and very, very honest with you right now.
Yes.
This is a very uncomfortable question, but I'm going to answer it.
Please.
Yes. After I left Benin, or rather, let me first of all finish the process.
Yeah. I think you
everything.
Should. But I want to get my question because
exactly.
It's important.
Then we come back, and then I'll definitely tell you. I think I'm even going to read one of the messages from the girls that I was involved with, back then. Then when she watched me speaking, she actually came to me and said, "Eish, I just saw you talking about the things that you've been involved in and everything. I remember that this and this happened to me at the time. But look, with me, it was not intentional. I'll be very honest with you. It was not intentional. My sacrifice, I had not reached yet that level of, human sacrifice and whatnot. But once you join the occultic and once you're part of these things, there is a certain urge of wanting sex that comes with being part of the cult. It's natural. It's like sex becomes part of worship.
Yeah, it becomes sort of a priority.
Exactly. It becomes sort of like a priority. But my sacrifice and everything that I was doing, they gave me conditions, and they told me that if ever I sleep with a woman who's on her menses, who was on her period, whatever that I'll be trying to do on that particular day when I go to church, it won't work. If I try to do anything, it won't work. The thing that I operate with will definitely embarrass me because it is allergic to the menstrual period blood. The other condition as well was I think I didn't block my calls, so I see people.
Can you put your phone in do not disturb mode?
Okay, I'll do that. Okay. Anyway, whoever's trying to call me, please don't call me. Probably some of the girls that I met back then.
Who are watching the live.
Hi, I can see you are live. Tell me, what did you do to me? No, I never did anything. I'm sorry. Okay. So, what was I saying, by the way?
So the first condition was not sleeping with a girl on her period, and you were
Yes.
gonna go to the second condition.
Yeah. So that was the first condition. The second condition was that what was the condition again? It was sex related. It was, I'll remember and then I'll tell you. So we were in that room. I'm now about to be introduced to this God. They told me to kneel down. After I knelt down, I remember there are some words that they started speaking. You know, in the Christendom, they call these words tongues. But in the occultic kingdom, they call them incantations. They call them enchantments. Where they are words that provoke things in the spiritual world. So they were speaking all these things, speaking all these words and speaking all these words, and they told me kneel down. They were speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking and speaking. Then they told me, you respond in this way. Afterwards, you bow your head on the floor, let your forehead touch the ground, and then you come up again. They speak again, they speak, then let your forehead touch the ground. They speak again, again and again, again and again. And then afterwards, they told me, lay on the ground right in front of the idol. Then they brought there's this liquid that they brought. They started sprinkling this liquid on me, saying a lot of things. And then afterwards, they told me, you can now stand up, face the God. And then I faced him. Then they told me, say whatever that you want. And then afterwards, say these words. And then after you say these words, you kneel down again. So I followed the whole procedure and the whole process. Then afterwards, I knelt down and they said to me, the men spoke in pidgin English. And then my friend said, it looks like you are now part of the family. Then I was very happy because the whole time I was freaking out, thinking that maybe I'll be rejected. Then he said to me, it looks like you're now part of the family. And then afterwards, they said we were going to go sit somewhere, have some things to eat, some things to drink and whatnot, as part of the whole process.
Ceremony.
Exactly. The following day, because we didn't have so many days, so the following day, they gave me a horn, a very big horn like this, quite big. It was quite a very big horn.
Do you think it's a rhino horn or
I have no idea.
An elephant horn?
I have no idea which animal it was, but it was a very big horn. Then this horn had a head on it. The head had a red cloth that was covering the head. So as I was, so they handed it over to me. Then they said, this is your God. And the name of your God is called Atovi. Atovi. That's the name of your God. From today, you are going to be worshiping this God. We are giving you this God, and you're going to use this as a point of contact when you get back to Zimbabwe. Remember, at the time I'm 19 years old. You're going to take this horn back home to Zimbabwe. This is what you're going to use as the point of contact when you get back to Zimbabwe, So I said, okay, but what about the airport? How am I going to cross with at the airport with this thing? Then they said, no, don't worry. No one is going to touch your bags. No one is going to open your bags. Even their machines are not going to pick up that you've got a horn in your bag. I said, really? Then they said, yes. So they told me every time, or probably 3 to 4 times a week, I must do sacrifices to this horn. I have to lay it on the ground, slaughter my chicken, smear the blood on the head. After smearing the blood on the head, I have to take gin, gin, the alcohol. Gin, gin, yeah. Right? I have to take gin and then I drink it, then, spit it onto the horn, and then I speak what I have to speak, and then afterwards there are some words that they gave me, but unfortunately I can't speak those words now.
No, please don't. It will never leave my head. If you say it, will never leave my head.
Yeah, so they told me, this is what you're going to do. This is going to be your sacrifices. This is the initial stage. There is stages to this thing. You start with the chicken sacrifice, and then after some time you go to the goat sacrifice. Then after some time you have to bury a whole cow in the ground, wherever you're going to be doing your church and everything. So they told me quite a lot of things. And then, but at the time, I just took the horn, put it in the bag. Then I left the amount of money that I left, and they told me, after every 6 months or after every 3 months, it's very important that as I go and I start making money, I must make it a point that I must always go back there with their money. That is why a lot of people who join these false prophets churches, all these fake churches and everything, once you give your money to these places, it's either you go broke, you lose everything, you start losing money, because the money that you bring as an offering, after they tell you that you are bringing the money to God, unfortunately the money is not going to God, but the money is being taken to shrines. When they take that money to shrines, the shrine uses your money as a point of contact to reach you. So whatever glory, whatever blessing, whatever star that you carry, it is taken away from you just by you giving money on an altar of a false prophet or of an occultic pastor or of an occultic prophet. So they told me 3-6 months I have to take. Sorry again. 3-6 months I have to take money back to them. After some time I have to take money again back to them. The more money I make, the more money I take back. The more money I make, the more money I take back. The more money I make, the more money I take back. That was
because, for an example, if people in your congregation are growing, right, in terms of numbers,
yeah,
and roughly you make $1 million, right, which is fairly possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Not fairly possible, highly possible.
Highly, right?
Yes.
Was there a specific percentage they told you to bring, or you just brought money that you thought was equivalent to what they were giving you?
I think the most important thing was just to get something that I felt was going to make them happy, because now remember, my life is now in their hands. Mm-hmm. There were times when they wanted to communicate with me, and I knew that they will come through dreams. They'll visit me in my dreams and they'll come give me instructions. Now do this. This is how you are doing it. You are not doing this right. You just made a mistake. You are doing this. So I knew that from time to time, I'll see this old man appearing in my dreams. I'll see people coming in my dreams, probably people who were part of the brotherhood at the time. I would see these people appearing in my dreams, wearing, at times it would be red robes, at times it will be black robes, and they come in lines. That's how they go. They go in lines. They don't go. They're very organized, very arranged. Everything is properly. So they come in lines, and then the master will be in front. He comes and he relays the message. I remember the time when I was now trying to come out of the cult. I started having a series of dreams where they wanted to kill me in my dreams. They would come to my dreams, strangle me in my dreams, do things to me in my dreams, to a point where I ended up not sleeping at night. And everyone who was around me, or who's still around me now, even my bodyguard, my security, and everybody, they knew and they know that this guy does not sleep at night. It's something that was happening at that time. I had to, get used to it. And even up to now, it's still happening, although I'm not part of it anymore, but because of the sleeping routine, I struggle to sleep a lot, so because they would want to kill me in my dreams, do things to me in my dreams, I started not sleeping at night. I'll only probably go to bed around 8 in the morning, 9 in the morning, or 10 in the morning, and sleep for like 2 hours, because I was avoiding, meeting up with these people in my dreams at all costs.
But then, can I just go back a little bit? When you're now taking this money to a different country, obviously you're not depositing the money into a bank. How do you get past the airport with so much money?
Well, you see, at times it won't be like in cash, because the airports will definitely not permit you to pass with so much money. Or at times I'll just change the money into dollars, because with dollars it will be, fewer
than stacks, South African stacks.
Fewer stacks than the, whatever. So, but mostly it will be transfer. They give me bank accounts. Transfer money to a certain country, then they'll swift it, to themselves and whatnot and all that. Or at times I'll actually carry cash. I'll put cash in my pocket. I'll give someone I'll be traveling with to also carry. Then I'll give someone else to carry. Then we fly from Zimbabwe, you know, and go that side to just drop whatever we have to drop. So after I left with the horn, I passed the airport. First airport I passed, they didn't open my bag. I called my friend when I got to the hotel. I said, hey, Akumbe, I passed. You know, I passed the airport. They did not even open the bag. And then he said, my friend, you don't know me. You know, you don't know. I can never take you to places that are weak. I only take you to power. This is power. Welcome to real power. Honestly, I started feeling very powerful, you know. Then I arrived in Zimbabwe. Our Zimbabwean airport is one of the, you know, Zimbabwean airport is a very difficult airport. But I can tell you right now that when I landed in Zimbabwe, I had no problems. When I landed in Zimbabwe, I had no problems at the airport. The customs people were there, and I had 3 bags and the small bag that had the horn inside. I just arrived, then they just said, you know what, just pass. It's okay, just pass. You can just go. I was very happy. Then when I got to the other side, I had hundreds of people waiting for me at the airport because I told them that when I'm coming back, I'm going to start performing miracles from the airport. So anyone who's going to meet me at the airport, you're going to receive the first blessing. So I had so many people waiting for me at the airport. Upon arrival, they took my bags, and then I told them, don't touch the small bag. The small bag, I carried by myself. So I took the bag to the car. Then they asked me, no, can we carry the bag for you? Because when you are in this, you know, occultic, pastoral, you become big. You know, you can't move a spoon. Somebody will move the spoon for you. You can't scratch your head. Somebody will scratch your head for you, because to them they see it as you know, collecting a blessing.
Yeah, you're collecting.
Exactly, collecting the blessing from the men of God. That is why at times they'll come and touch the pastor's shoes. They think I'm taking a blessing, but they don't know that there is no blessing there. There is nothing, you know. So I arrived back home in Zimbabwe. I called for an all-night prayer. I invited musicians to come and join us. It was packed.
Hold up.
Sorry? Yeah.
Hold up 1 second. What type of musicians? They're gospel singers, pop stars?
Gospel.
So you invite gospel singers to your cult, to come sing in your cult?
I invited gospel musicians to come. They came. Because remember, what they want is money. So you give them what they want, then they give you what you want. It's transactional.
Wow. Sure. Please continue. Wow.
So I invited the gospel artists. They came. The all-night prayer was packed. First time in my life, I walk into a service. There's hundreds of people, not thousands, because this was Zimbabwe, but there's hundreds of people. The hall is packed. Some are standing on chairs. As I walk in, you know, with my entourage, everything is just making so much sense. And I'm asking myself, where are these people coming from? You know, I got in there. I took the microphone. Whenever I sing, you know, I don't know what happens, but whenever I sing, anywhere I go, whenever I sing, you know, it's not, I wouldn't say at the time it was God touching people, but there's something about people in church. They feel so emotional whenever they love the way that somebody is singing, and they have a mistake, and they always mistaken feeling emotional and feeling spiritual. I'll say it again. If you happen to go to a Beyonce show or a Michael Jackson show, people die because they are feeling so emotional. It's not because they are feeling the presence of God. So in most churches that are led by occultic pastors, occultic prophets, occultic bishops, you get to a place where the praise and worship is on point, and most of those people, they are not aware that their pastor is in the occultic. Because if you are an occultic man, you will try to make sure that everyone around you presents a certain amount of godliness, so that people won't question everything that you'll be doing at the time. So the praise and worship, they'll be singing God songs. They'll pray. Oh my God. Go to an occultic church. They'll pray for hours only to convince you that God is here. But it doesn't mean that the fact that you are praying, your prayers are going to be answered by God. No. Because of the occultic men standing in front of you, already there's a distortion in the realms of the spirit. No matter how much you can pray, no matter, as long as you go after praying, you kneel down before him and he lays his hands on you. There is a spiritual transfer. Whatever he carries comes upon you. Like I said, sex is like worship in the occultic kingdom. Once an occultic pastor lays hands on you, you start having lust. Your level of wanting to sleep with men and women becomes so high. That is why you go to churches, you begin to realize that, you know what, the club is actually better than the church, because the way people are sleeping with each other in the church is so messed up. The club is actually better than being in a church, because this is not a church. It's just like a business center where people are just coming to gather to praise a God they don't know, calling upon the God of their pastor whom they have never met, whom they have never seen, whom they have never encountered. But the only thing they know is that the anointing and the power of the pastor is protecting them. That is all rubbish. It's heresy. It doesn't exist. The only important thing that I want everyone who's watching me now to understand is that pray by yourself, in your house, in your kitchen, in your bedroom. There's God. You don't need to go to a building to find God. When coronavirus came, it proved to everybody that churches have become so useless. The place where people were supposed to be healed, they were not being healed. So after the service, after the first service that we did, it was so packed. I held the microphone. I just blew air into the microphone, and people started falling off. Like everywhere, people were just falling. It would be just a matter of going to touch somebody and then the person falls off. I just go and touch somebody, the person falls off. Some will say, I'm seeing a face of a lion. As I'm looking at you, I'm seeing a face of a lion. Some will say, as I'm looking at you, I'm seeing, they'll be seeing different things. And in my mind, I knew that everything that is happening here, it is not because God is in this place, but it's because of what I've, entered into and what I have done,
So, people in church would see demons that you carry masqueraded as animals.
Exactly. But they wouldn't know that these are demons.
Yeah, they wouldn't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, obviously they wouldn't know. But I'm just now trying to make sense of what they would be seeing. They would be seeing demons.
If there were people, let's say it happens all the time, that in church, there's someone in church who I feel is now being against me, or is now beginning to question my source of power. Because they are now seeing things that they've never seen. The things that they are seeing now are things that they have never seen before. You understand?
Yeah.
They know me as somebody who just used to preach, pray for people and just say one or two things. God is saying this and then I'm out. But all of a sudden, everything is just extreme. When I call somebody, I call them by name. I call them by phone number. I call them by, their situation. Politicians, I gathered politicians in Zimbabwe. At the time, there were politicians who came. Politicians would come see me at night in my house, wanting, me to tell them about their lives, tell them who their enemies are, and they would come and I would tell them. So you realize that already, even in the political space, I started dominating. I started having people following me in the political space. So if you try to say, if you try to say at any point that, oh no, Jay Israel is like this, or we want to do this against Jay Israel, I will not only come after you. I will not only come after you spiritually, I'll come after you even physically. I'll use all the connections that I have to all the politicians to make sure that I make your life a living hell. And I would speak about it publicly to say, you can't touch me. You can't touch me because I had control. It's psychological. Once you can control somebody's mind, you can control their pockets. Once you can control somebody's mind, you can control their bank accounts. Once you can control somebody's mind, you can control their marriage, you can control their family. So I had dominion over people's families. They wouldn't travel without asking me, should we go or not? They wouldn't move. People wouldn't get married without asking me, is this the right woman for me or not? That's the kind of manipulation that I had instilled in people by using everything that I had to make sure that whatever I say is what goes. That is how the occultic operates.
Were there times where, for instance, now that you've mentioned marriage, and you see a couple who's truly in love, were there times where you saw that the union was so powerful and you said no to them because you saw that they had a star on their marriage? Was it?
I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've done that before, and there's actually marriages that have also, there's people who are married now. Yeah, connected. I remember there was a girl in East London. Remember now, I'm still narrating my Zimbabwean journey.
Yeah, Zimbabwean.
Then before I come to South Africa, there was a time.
Jay, because the live has been over an hour now, can we start a new live but when you get to the point where when you were in East London, can that be part 2? Because I'm scared that you will start that conversation and the live will sort of count us down and we'll have to cut you off.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give it like another 3 minutes.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna save it.
Just wrap up, yeah.
Yeah, and start a new live where you speak about now you transitioning from Zim and opening a church in South Africa, East London, to continue with the same cult.
So I still kept my horn. I kept my horn. I was doing sacrifices on my horn to a point where I finished all the chickens in these different places where I used to buy chickens. I was even ashamed of going to these places because each time I arrived, they're like, "Oh, Pastor, you are back. You really love chickens. You must have a very big family because you buy chickens almost every day." But they didn't know what these chickens were for, So it went on and on and on and on and on and on and on doing my sacrifices. One funny thing that happened, I have a man, he was my PA in Zimbabwe. One time I was going to a service and then I put that horn in my car because I had people in the house and I was afraid that if I just leave the horn in the house, they might open my bedroom and get in there and just search things, So I took the horn, I took the horn and I put it in my car. We swapped cars with my PA and I said, let's go to the service together. You follow me behind. He had a problem along the way and he didn't make it. Then I arrived at the service. I tried to do everything. I tried to touch people's heads. Nothing happened. Nobody fell down. I tried to say to somebody, your name is James. The person said, no, I'm not James. I'm Peter. It was just a mess. Then I remembered that, no, I think I left my horn in the wrong place and that guy must have seen it. Only the following day, the guy came back and he told me, oh no, man of God, I took your car to the car wash and then I washed the car. Then I said, did you open the boot? He said, yeah. I think they opened the boot because there was a funny smell that was coming out of the boot. I said, oh, shucks. It was a mess. It was a mess. And I knew that he saw that thing and was afraid to ask me what it was. He spoke to one person, the other one spoke to the other one. Then rumors started spreading in Harare that Jay Israel is an occult, he's satanic, he's got horns in his house, he sacrifices whatnot, and he does a lot of things. It's a rumor that started spreading in Harare to a point where I didn't really like it. I was calling people and telling them, look, you talk about me again, I'll kill you.
So you were threatening people to protect the occult?
Just to protect my cult. So, time went by, I got fed up of Zimbabwe, and then I said, I'm going to leave Zimbabwe and go to South Africa.
This is now which year?
This is now 2015. This is now 2014 this is now end of 2014, getting to 2015. That's when I was now transitioning from Zimbabwe, coming to South Africa.
So you basically fled Zimbabwe, is that what you say?
Not really. Not really. I
What
did
was
not.
the reason? Why did you really leave in spite of the rumors?
I think I was just tired of being in Zimbabwe, you know. I was just tired of being in Zimbabwe.
Would it be correct if I said that, sorry to cut you off, would it be correct if I said that your greed was surpassing the market?
Sort of.
Yeah, because Zim is very small. In terms of, number one, their lifestyle is not like South Africa. South Africans are extreme, like Nigerians and Americans, right?
True.
Also, the area where you were in was now becoming below your standards, because now you're getting all this money. You have these people. The church is not growing physically in terms of structure. You have people who are standing on chairs, standing outside, standing by the windows, and you understand it's becoming too small for your greed. Is that correct, right? So the next big thing is to go to the next big city and start over using the same power, but carrying over what you know.
Exactly. I think it's more like it. It's more like it.
No, it's not more like it. It's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So I think we can now cut the live so that we get to the part 2 of South Africa.
Yeah. So guys, can you please give us 5 minutes? I think